This young Canadian patriot is about to explain exactly why going to an economic battle with the United States is not a very good idea. This video is actually clipped up from JGenXer. Go give him a follow over on X and CDS underscore Harold over on TikTok. Now we're going to get into this, and I have a couple more videos that you're definitely going to want to see, so make sure you stick around till the end. Please also don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help grow this channel, and I appreciate you guys so much for that. Also, if you're on Facebook, come give me a follow over on that platform as well. I know there's a lot of liberals, they can be annoying, but power in numbers is always a good thing. Let's get into this video, and then we'll talk about it after like usual.
Last year, Canada elected who was supposed to be the savior to our country, Mark Carney. It's been over a year. I haven't noticed anything being saved, especially not a single dollar, considering he's spending way more than Justin Trudeau ever did. Our deficit is through the roof. In fact, they're spending more than they are even predicting they'll spend themselves. He was the guy.
And that's what a lot of people still don't understand yet, is that yes, in terms of spending, Mark Carney, the banker, the expert with money, the guy who's got so much experience, is even worse with money, at least our money, than Justin Trudeau was so far. And that's saying something.
Guy that was supposed to get a trade deal with America because he has all this experience in the business world, in the banking world, and he knows how to negotiate in a crisis. There is no crisis besides a liberal crisis here, which is, oh my God, we don't know how to deal with anything. We better tell the country that it's everyone else's fault. And then that's what the crisis will be, and they move on and spend a bunch of money and get no results. Look, at the end of the day, you can say Mark Carney is more experienced than pierrepoilievre, but we don't have one guy running the country. It's an entire team, and I'm sorry, the Liberals, they're a losing team. There's no point of continuing to have them in power. All they do is spend money and get nothing for it. We even just built a bridge and gave half of it away. I'm not even sure how we ended up in that sort of deal, but from the very beginning, we shouldn't have tried attacking America. Canada's not in a position of strength to do that. We make up 2% of their economy. They make up nearly 70% of our economy. That's not an even fight. Therefore, you don't pick a fight you can't win, and Canada needs to know where that line is. Specifically, Mark Carney and the Liberals and the Liberal voters need to know where that line is. Yeah, it's great to have the heroic feeling to say, no, I'm going to take down that bully. Well, you can't just take down a bully because you said the bully should be taken down. That's not how it works. We should have teamed up with America. If America said, hey, we want to bring industry back to America, we want to tariff the rest of the world, Canada should have been right there and said, all right, we'll do it with you. Let's team up. We're great partners for each other. We're going to continue to be great partners with each other. Obviously, we're side by side. Canada should have chosen their greatest trade partner out of anybody else. We should have teamed up. It could have been Canada and America versus the world. I'm not saying that's the most ideal situation, but you'd have to be crazy to think that Canada teaming up with China is in any sort of better situation, or that China is a better trade partner for us. In what world would China ever be considered more ethical than America? Look, I'm not saying there's perfect solutions for every problem, but you got to learn which is the most strategic path to take. And America's right next to us. Any business person would know that rekindling that relationship is the way forward that Canada has to go if we want to survive and we want to grow and we want the future generations of Canadians to live good lives.
Absolutely, but the problem is there's about 62% of Canadians who do want to fight back. They don't want to deal, they just want to push back, and they want Doug Ford and Mark Carney to do whatever they can to keep the fight going, because to them, that's sticking it to Donald Trump, which is absolutely ridiculous. 62% of people want counter tariffs. I and most people just want a good deal done. I shouldn't say most people, because 62% of Canadians, it's a majority. But most other people outside of that 62%, some are, not sure what to do. Most of us, though, want a deal done. Just like Mark Carney promised. All we want is for Mark Carney to keep his campaign promises. Is that really so much to ask? I don't think it is. And we have this lady here, and I've never covered her before. Her name is Sarah Capital Insights over on TikTok, and she's going to give us some very interesting information. And again, posted by JJetXer, go give him a shout out over on X. Liberals and Carney keep bragging about record foreign investment. 96.8 billion. Sounds impressive until you look under the hood. Nearly half of that money wasn't new factories or jobs, it was foreign companies buying up existing Canadian companies. Yikes. So let's have a look at what this lady has to say here, and then we'll talk about it.
When the federal government boasts about record breaking foreign direct investment, they're not lying. They're just not telling you the whole truth. Now, the headline number is actually impressive. In 2025, Canada reported $96.8 billion in foreign direct investment, and the government celebrates this as proof that global investors are betting on Canada. They point to the per capita numbers. Canada leads the G7. We're fourth globally. The message is clear. Yeah, Canada is open for business, but here's what the headlines don't tell you, and this is quite concerning. Nearly half of that $96.8 billion wasn't foreign companies building new factories or even creating jobs. It was foreign companies buying Canadian companies that already existed. Same buildings, same equipment, same workers, often fewer after the layoff comes, just new foreign owners. So I want you to think about that. Rio Tinto buying Arcadian Lithium, UK private equity firm scooping up Canadian tech companies, Mexican mining giant Fresnillo buying Pro Gold. These are ownership transfers, not economic growth. Now, StatsCan breaks FDI into three categories: mergers and acquisitions, reinvested earnings, and greenfield investment. Now, only one category, greenfield, represents actual new productive capacity, new factories, new equipment, new jobs. In 2024, mergers and acquisitions accounted for 49% of all FDI inflows. Greenfield investment, just 22.6%, less than a quarter. So the thesis is very straightforward. Canada's FDI numbers are a statistical illusion that masks a structural capital exodus. The record foreign investment celebrated by politicians is in reality a fire sale of Canadian assets to foreign owners who extract profits and ship them abroad. The factories don't get bigger, the workforce doesn't grow, and the productivity gap with the United States keeps widening. But by all means, keep calling Trump a bully, because that's going to solve the problems here in Canada. Now, Statistics Canada, following international standards set by the IMF and the OECD, defines foreign direct investment as any cross-border investment where the foreign investor acquires at least 10% ownership of a Canadian entity. Now, this threshold captures not just major acquisitions, but also significant minority stakes. Now, within this definition, FDI is broken into three categories. Like I said, mergers and acquisitions. This drives the entire illusion. When a foreign company buys a Canadian company, StatsCan is going to record this as foreign direct investment inflow. But what we need to understand is they're not creating jobs. They're not creating factories. They're not building the equipment. Canada is being sold off through mergers and acquisitions. Okay, the spike is staggering. Over the last 10 years, mergers and acquisitions averaged 34% of all FDI. So we need to understand here that when the politicians tell us that Canada is open for business, that Canada is growing, that is an absolute bald-faced lie.
It's interesting how misleading they are, right? They'll make this, they'll have this headline or the way they title their bills, the Safe Supply Act, the Online Harm Reductions Act. And every time they pass these bills, like the Safe Supply, it's really just, hey, we're gonna flood the streets with drugs. But they put a nice little title on it, right? They always make it sound really good, but then we find out later on, as usual, oh wait, that nice little title actually didn't really do anything nice, did it? And they're doing it again with these investment numbers. So 96.8 billion, but half of it is just companies being bought up by foreign investors. That's not new investment into Canada. Those are companies buying up other companies in Canada that already existed. Nice job, guys. Way to mislead the people, as you always do. Lastly here, I have this video from Antonio Tweets. It's actually reposted from a Mario Zalea's account. Go give them a follow and a shout out. Kevin O'Leary just gave receipts. China interferes with our progress, with our politics, with our elections, and CSIS leaked documents to confirm they want Pierre gone because they want a pro-China leader like Carney instead. Yeah, I mean, we all knew that, but of course the CSIS reports proved our quote-unquote conspiracy right. But let's just see what Mario and Kevin O'Leary have to say here.
1 second, because I'm going to share something with you that I don't think I've ever shared with anyone before, but watch this.
I did not see coming. And maybe we want to segue into what happened the evening of May 4th at 8:30, because I have 12 million plus followers on various social media platforms. I got a call from one of our IT guys, and he said, there's something wrong here. There's a massive influx in DMs going on two specific platforms, X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram. Not a small increase, tens of thousands of percent increase. I said, well, is it a mistake? Is there a technical glitch on these platforms? He said, unlikely. They're two different complete platforms. So he had a first look. He said, wow, there's a lot of similar IP addresses here. And so we did an initial scan, and we realized, wait a second, there's bots operating here. There are nefarious accounts out of the country dumping stuff that's completely false about Utah. So we didn't wait. The next morning we hired and started working with a very advanced data science team. And what we learned was, to me, shocking, just stunning.
Just hang on. I'm going to speed it up a little bit.
Are doing campaigns everywhere there's a proposed increase in power.
And don't worry, you're not going crazy. Mario sped up, so I know it can be a bit hard to follow what Kevin's saying, but basically he's about to prove that China has bot farms and that they're spying on people, and including in Kevin O'Leary.
And or a data center. More digging, more. Salt Lake Party for Socialism and Liberation, Salt Lake Democratic Socialists of America. Then this one today, the Cuban Institute for Friendship with the People. What the hell are they doing marching around Box Elder County? I mean, what is this? And so I called my contacts at the White House. I raised a flag, and I said, what the hell's going on here? They put me in touch with various law enforcement agents. We had a meeting last week with my entire data set team and multiple law enforcement agencies, and we started sharing data. I gave them 90 pages of IP addresses, all from all over the place, all around the world, hitting these locations. You see where I'm going with this? I'm not okay with this. And I found it in Alberta, Canada, too. So it's there's a war going on, I guess a PR war, or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, is what you're suggesting that these entities are sort of taking funds from the Chinese Communist Party and using those funds to sort of run a digital sort of blackmail campaign against your project?
I'm not suggesting it. It's an irrefutable fact.
Kevin has access to data that I don't, but I always believe this to be the case. The second Mark Carney stepped into the picture, not when he became prime minister and took over for Trudeau, just before that, we saw a massive, and I mean massive, consistent influx of what I will call Chinese bots on social media platforms boosting him. And when they did their leadership review to replace Justin Trudeau, and then when also Mark Carney went up against Pierre-Poilievre in the official election, none of that stopped. There was a tremendous amount of unbelievable support from these accounts that had 0 followers, 0 posts, and they would just post positive things and they would boost comments. What they do is they utilize these bots. They make one comment and it's all done through AI and it's all extremely sophisticated and they're all linked accounts. Someone will make a positive comment. Mark Carney is going to be the best prime minister in Canadian history. Within literally under a minute, you will have about 400 or 500 people liking that, making it the top comment, and this is how they do it. This is what social engineering looks like. So you, as the person who is an actual individual, not a bot, pulls up that comment. The top comments are all pro Carney. When Carney is asked why China would boost him, he says, oh, I don't know.
I mean, I see that a lot on X. I post something and you'll see just nonstop unverified accounts. And I'm not saying like just because you're unverified, you're a bot. A lot of people aren't verified. Paying for the blue check mark is not for everybody. I understand, but a lot of them are bots. And that's why every once in a while you'll see your followers drop from like whatever you have like 1,700. You'll see them drop down to like 1,600 because once in a while X and other platforms, I'm sure, will kind of do a bot sweep and they'll get rid of them, but then they just come right back. And yeah, most of them are from China. What do liberals accuse conservatives of? Being Russian bots. But here's the problem. I'm verified. I'm not a Russian bot. In fact, we can look. Shows where I am. There's nothing Russian about me, right? But you can go through a lot of these comments and you're going to see these bots that say these weird things. It seems like AI is even writing their responses. It's very interesting, but either way, great piece of information by all 3 videos. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I'll be back shortly with a new one.